There is a truck sitting on used car lots all over this country right now that can haul, tow, and run for 250,000 miles without breaking a sweat, and you can buy it today for about $9,000. Meanwhile, Ford is asking you to walk into a dealership and sign paperwork on a 2026 F-150 that starts at $39,885 for the stripped-down regular cab that nobody actually buys. The one most people drive off the lot with, the XLT Super Crew with four-wheel drive, starts at $51,915. By the time you add the equipment group with adaptive cruise and the 360-degree camera, you are looking at $57,000 or more. Ford's own average transaction price for the brand closed out December 2025 at $57,614. That is not a typo. People are spending nearly $60,000 on a truck, financing it over 72 or 84 months, and paying interest on top of that, all while a truck that does 85% of what the F-150 does is sitting on a used lot with a price tag that would not even cover the tax, title, and first year of insurance on the new Ford. After 22 years of turning wrenches, I have watched people come into my shop drowning in truck payments on vehicles they did not need, could not afford, and that honestly were not as reliable as they thought. Today, I am going to tell you about the most underrated, overlooked, and absurdly underpriced truck on the used market. A truck so reliable that Nissan literally did not bother redesigning it for almost 2 decades because it just worked. I am going to show you exactly why it makes a brand new 2026 F-150 look like a total financial scam. Let's get into it. The truck is the second-generation Nissan Frontier with the 4-liter V6, model years 2005 through 2019. 15 years of the same basic truck, same platform, same drivetrain. And before you scroll away thinking I have lost my mind recommending a Nissan pickup over a Ford, hear me out. I have the numbers, the repair records, and about 2 decades of seeing what actually survives in the real world. Let me tell you about a customer of mine. About 2 years ago, a guy in his mid-30s came in. Construction foreman. He was about to sign on a new F-150 XLT with the 2.7-liter EcoBoost 4-wheel drive, financed at $54,000 over 72 months. His monthly payment would be $867. I asked him what he actually used his truck for. He said hauling tools, pulling a small utility trailer on weekends, and commuting 45 minutes each way to job sites. He did not tow a fifth wheel. He did not haul 10,000 pounds of steel. He needed a truck, absolutely, but he did not need a $60,000 truck. I showed him a 2016 Nissan Frontier SV Crew Cab with the V6. 4-wheel drive, 94,000 miles, 1 owner, full service history. The dealer was asking $12,500, and I told him he could get it for $11,000. He bought it for $10,800. That was 2 years ago. You know what he has spent on repairs since? $387. An oil change, a cabin air filter, and a set of rear brake pads. He said he could not believe he almost spent $54,000 on a truck. He now has no payment, puts $800 a month into savings, and his Frontier just rolled past 138,000 miles without a single mechanical issue. That story is not unique. I have put at least 15 people into these trucks, and the feedback is always the same. Nothing breaks. Here's why. The heart of the second-generation Frontier is the VQ40DE. That is Nissan's 4.0-liter naturally aspirated V6. And when I say this engine is proven, I mean it has been in production since 2005 and belongs to the VQ engine family that has been around since 1995. That family won Ward's 10 Best Engines Award 14 years in a row. Not a typo, 14 consecutive years. The VQ40DE in the Frontier makes 261 horsepower and 281 pound-feet of torque. It is not turbocharged. There is no turbo to fail, no intercooler to leak, no wastegate to stick. It is naturally aspirated, dual overhead cam with variable valve timing on the intake side. It uses a timing chain, not a belt. There is no timing belt replacement interval. The chain is designed to last the life of the engine. Now compare that to the 2026 F-150's base engine, the 2.7-liter EcoBoost V6. That engine makes 325 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque. More powerful on paper, absolutely, but it achieves that through twin turbochargers and direct fuel injection. And both of those technologies come with a price. The 2.7 EcoBoost is known for carbon buildup on the intake valves because direct injection does not wash the valves with fuel the way port injection does. Over time, carbon accumulates and you start getting misfires, a rough idle, and reduced power. Cleaning those valves is a $400 to $800 job at an independent shop. At a dealership, you are looking at over $1,000. The turbos themselves are wear items. They usually last, but when they fail, you are looking at $2,000 to $4,000 for a replacement. And the EcoBoost has had documented issues with head gasket failures on some model years, timing chain stretch, and coolant intrusion into the cylinders. These are not common on every truck, but they happen often enough that Ford forums are full of them. The Frontier's VQ40DE has none of that complexity. No turbos, no direct injection carbon buildup, no intercooler condensation issues. The most expensive repair I have ever done on a VQ40DE was a timing chain and guide replacement at 215,000 miles, and that was $1,200 in parts and labor. The engine ran for another 60,000 miles after that, before the customer sold the truck, and most Frontiers never even need that service. Let me give you the maintenance numbers, because this is where the F-150 really starts looking like a bad deal. RepairPal gives the Nissan Frontier a reliability rating of 4 out of 5. That ranks it number 1 out of 7 midsize trucks. The average annual repair cost is $470. The probability of a major repair is 12%. The frequency of unscheduled shop visits is 0.2 times per year. That means most Frontier owners go an entire year without a single unplanned trip to the mechanic. The Ford F-150, RepairPal rates it 3.5 out of 5, ranking it 7th out of 17 full-size trucks. Average annual repair cost is $788. That is $318 more per year than the Frontier. The probability of a major repair is 16%. Over 10 years, that difference in maintenance alone is $3,180. Add that to the $45,000 to $48,000 you saved on the purchase price, and you start to see why I call the new F-150 a scam for most buyers. Now let's talk about what the Frontier can actually do, because if it could not do truck things, none of this would matter. The V6 Frontier tows up to 6,500 pounds when properly equipped. That is a mid-size boat, a pair of jet skis, a utility trailer loaded with landscaping equipment, or a small camper. For 80% of truck owners in this country, that is more than enough. The payload capacity is around 1,400 400 to 1,500 pounds depending on configuration. The bed is either a 5-foot or a 6-foot box. It is a real truck with a real body-on-frame chassis, a real transfer case on the 4-wheel drive models, and a real low range for when you need it. Is it as big as an F-150? No. Can it tow 13,500 pounds? Absolutely not. But ask yourself honestly, do you actually tow 13,500 pounds? Most F-150 buyers never tow anything heavier than a Home Depot run of lumber. You are paying a $48,000 premium for capability you will never use. Here is the part that blows people's minds. The second-generation Frontier ran from 2005 to 2021 with essentially the same design. Nissan refreshed the interior slightly in 2009 and updated the infotainment in later years, but the bones of the truck, the frame, the engine, the transmission, the suspension architecture, all stayed fundamentally the same. Some people see that as a negative. I see it as one of the greatest advantages in the entire used truck market. When a manufacturer runs the same platform for 15+ years, every single weakness gets identified, documented, and fixed. Parts availability is off the charts. Aftermarket support is massive. Every independent mechanic in America knows how to work on these trucks because they have been doing it for almost 2 decades. Try finding an independent shop that is comfortable doing turbo work on a 2.7 EcoBoost. Most of them send you to the dealer, and dealer labor rates are $180 to $220 an hour. The transmission paired with the VQ40DE is the RE5R05A, a 5-speed automatic that Nissan also used in the Pathfinder, Xterra, and the Infiniti FX35. It is a traditional torque converter automatic, not a CVT. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Not a CVT. Nissan gets a bad reputation for their continuously variable transmissions in sedans, and rightfully so. But the Frontier never got a CVT. It got a proven 5-speed auto that with regular fluid changes will run well past 200,000 miles without a rebuild. I have personally worked on Frontiers with over 250,000 miles on the original transmission. Now, the Frontier is not perfect. No vehicle is. Here is what you need to know before you buy one, and this is the part that separates a smart buyer from someone who gets burned. First, and this is the big one, the SMOD issue. On models from 2005 to 2010 with automatic transmissions, Nissan used a radiator with an internal transmission fluid cooler. The seal between the coolant passages and the transmission fluid passages could fail, allowing coolant to mix with the transmission fluid. This is called strawberry milkshake of death, or SMOD, and yes, that is its actual name in the community. When it happens, it destroys the transmission. This failure was most common between 80,000 and 120,000 miles. On any 2005 to 2010 Frontier, you need to ask whether the radiator has been replaced or whether the transmission cooler lines have been rerouted to an external cooler. This is a well-documented fix that costs about $200 to $400. If it has been done, you are golden. If it has not been done on a truck with over 80,000 miles, walk away or negotiate $400 off the price and do it yourself. The 2011 and newer models fix this issue with an updated radiator design. If you buy a 2011 or newer Frontier, SMOD is not a concern. Second, timing chain tensioner guides. On some 2005 to 2010 V6 models, The upper timing chain guides could wear prematurely due to a manufacturing defect in the chain links by the supplier Borg-Warner. This causes a whining noise from the front of the engine that sounds like a power steering pump. The updated parts fix this permanently. The repair runs about $1,200 at an independent shop. On 2011 and newer models, the updated chains and guides were installed from the factory. Third, check the rear axle seals. Some four-wheel drive models, particularly the PRO4X trim, used a Dana M226 rear axle that could develop a seal leak. Listen for whining from the rear end and check for fluid weeping around the differential. The fix is about $300 to $500. Models with the automatic transmission and non-PRO4X trim use the C200K rear axle, which is extremely reliable. Fourth, rust. Like any truck, check the frame, especially if you are buying in the Northeast, the Midwest, or anywhere they salt the roads. The Frontier has a steel frame, and while it holds up well, neglected trucks in the Rust Belt can develop issues. Get under the truck. Look at the frame rails. If you see through rust or heavy flaking, move on. Surface rust is normal and treatable. Through rust is a death sentence. Here is my ideal buy. 2013 to 2019 Nissan Frontier SV or SV value truck package with the V6 crew cab, four-wheel drive, from 90,000 to 130,000 miles. These trucks are currently selling from $8,000 to $14,000, depending on mileage, location, and condition. For $9,000 to $10,000, you can find a solid example with around 110,000 to 130,000 miles. That is a truck with easily another 100,000 to 150,000 miles of life left in it with nothing but basic maintenance. Let's do the math on total cost of ownership, because this is where the comparison gets embarrassing for the F-150. Scenario 1. You buy a 2026 F-150 XLT Super Crew four-wheel drive for $55,000 after taxes and fees. You finance it at 6.5% over 72 months. Your monthly payment is roughly $930 per month. Over 6 years, you pay about $66,960 total. By the time you pay it off, the truck has depreciated to around $27,000 to $30,000. You have lost roughly $37,000 in depreciation alone. Add $788 per year in average maintenance for 6 years, and that is another $4,728. Total cost to own that F-150 for 6 years is about $41,728 in pure losses. Scenario 2. You buy a 2015 Nissan Frontier V6 crew cab, four-wheel drive for $9,000 cash. No payment, no interest, no financing. You drive it for 6 years. Maintenance at $470 per year is $2,820 total. Let's be generous and say you put $1,500 into unexpected repairs over those 6 years, even though most owners spend far less. Your total cost of ownership for 6 years is $13,320, including the purchase price. The truck is still worth $3,000 to $4,000 at the end. That is a difference of over $28,000. That is a down payment on a house. That is your kid's first 2 years of college. That is a fully funded emergency fund. And both trucks got you to work every single day. Now I know the counter-arguments. The new F-150 is nicer inside. Absolutely. The F-150 has a better infotainment system, no question. The F-150 rides smoother, has more towing capacity, has blind spot monitoring, adaptive cruise control, and a 12-inch touchscreen. All true, but you are paying $48,000 more for those features. Does a touchscreen and adaptive cruise control cost $48,000? Because that is the real question nobody asks. The Frontier's interior is basic. The 2013 to 2019 models have a simple radio, a decent cloth interior, manual climate controls, and not much else. You know what they also have? Everything you need and nothing that breaks. There is no touchscreen to delaminate, no adaptive cruise control module to fail, no 10-speed transmission with complicated valve bodies, no turbo seals to blow. Less technology means fewer failure points, and fewer failure points means more money in your pocket. When you are shopping for a Frontier, here is my inspection checklist. First, start the engine cold. Listen for any whining from the timing chain area. If it goes away after 30 seconds, it is probably just the normal VQ valve lifter tick that every Nissan V6 engine has. If it persists at a high pitch, the timing chain guides may need attention. Negotiate accordingly. Second, check the transmission fluid. Pull the dipstick. It is held in with a 10mm bolt. The fluid should be red or light brown. If it is pink, milky, or smells like coolant, the truck has SMOD and the transmission is damaged. Walk away. Third, test the four-wheel drive system. Engage 4 high, drive in a straight line, then switch to 4 low. Everything should engage smoothly without grinding or clunking. Fourth, check the oil for color and smell. The VQ40DE can develop catalytic converter issues on older models that send ceramic particles into the cylinders, causing oil consumption. If the oil is excessively dark or low between changes, ask for a compression test. Fifth, look at the frame. Crawl underneath or put it on a lift. You are looking for structural rust, not surface rust. This is the single most important thing on any used truck. Who should buy this truck? If you use a truck for actual truck things, but do not need to tow more than 6,500 pounds, the Frontier is perfect. If you want a paid-off truck with the lowest possible cost per mile, this is your vehicle. If you are a tradesperson, a contractor, a landscaper, or anyone who needs a reliable work truck and does not want to throw away money on payments, the Frontier is the smartest move you can make. And if you are someone who simply cannot justify spending $55,000 or more on a depreciating asset when a $9,000 truck will do the same job, you are my kind of buyer. Who should skip it? If you regularly tow over 6,500 pounds, you need a full-size truck. No way around it. If you need a crew cab with massive rear seat legroom for a family of 5, the Frontier's back seat is tight. It works for adults on short trips, but it is not an F-150 Super Crew. If you want the latest tech, the best ride quality, and the most refined driving experience, the Frontier is not that. It is a tool. A reliable, honest, no-nonsense tool. And if you care about what other people think when you pull into the parking lot, the Frontier does not turn heads. It never did. That is part of why it is so cheap. Here is my final take. The 2026 Ford F-150 is a fantastic truck. I am not arguing that. It tows more, it is more comfortable, and it is loaded with technology. But the value proposition is completely broken. Ford is charging $55,000 to $60,000 for what most people use as a commuter vehicle with a bed they fill maybe 3 times a year. Meanwhile, a used Nissan Frontier with the bulletproof VQ40DE V6 will haul your stuff, pull your trailer, get you to work in the snow, and run for 250,000 miles, all for the price of a decent used sedan. The Frontier is not glamorous. It is not flashy. It will not win any beauty contests, but it will be running long after that F-150 is paid off, traded in, and forgotten. And the $48,000 you saved, that is going to change your life a lot more than a 12-inch touchscreen ever will. Now, if you want to know which trucks have the absolute worst reliability records, the ones mechanics see coming and immediately clear their afternoon schedule, I did a whole video on that. It is right here. That is 22 years of watching trucks come and go, like if this helped. Subscribe for more straight talk about what to actually buy. I will keep giving you the truth that dealerships will not. Drive safe, take care of your truck, and it will take care of you. Take it or leave it. I will see you in the next one.